Thank you very much, Andrea. Well, next on the agenda, I'm very honored to have here with us Ghias Khan from Pakistan, with us to share an exciting story about the company Engro. And Engro has invested into many different areas, what I learned, from telecommunications, agricultural sector, but particularly wants to solve the energy issues in Pakistan. Ghias has been the fourth president and CEO of the company now, so it's a great honor to have you here with us, sharing your stories.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. Well, first of all, I would like to thank the Swiss Asian Chamber of Commerce for inviting me to this event to discuss this very, very important subject. And it truly has been a learning experience just sitting here and listening to my colleagues who came before me. Just before we get into the subject, I want to give you a quick background and history about our company. It was roughly, it was almost 6 decades ago when natural gas was discovered in Pakistan, and that's what led Esso from United States to come and establish a fertilizer plant. Esso later on became Exxon, and it was in the late 80s when Exxon decided to exit from all fertilizer businesses globally, and that's when the management of the company bought the shares from Exxon, and that's how Engro was born. And it stands for energy to grow. So that's how the company came into being. And then, of course, from being a fertilizer company producing 250,000 tons a year, it has now turned into a diversified conglomerate. We've gotten into a number of businesses, and also the ownership of the company went through a transition. So Davos Group took the majority became the sponsor shareholders of the companies in the late 90s, and Mr. Hussain Daud, who I saw a while ago, became our chairman. And the reason why I'm introducing him here and his wife, Ms. Kulsum Daud, is because they've been coming to the World Economic Forum for almost 3 decades now, and have been flying the Pakistan flag, and now very rightly have convinced us, the rest of the team, to come here and experience the same learning which they have been passing on to us for so many years. Before I go into more specifics about what we are doing as a company as far as the sustainability transition is concerned, I just want to talk a little bit about Pakistan. I think it's relevant. We're a developing country, and how a typical developing country, what challenges do we have when it comes to ESG? We're contributing less than 1%, I believe, to the overall carbon emissions globally. Coal production, power from coal production till 2019 in Pakistan was negligible. It currently stands somewhere between 15 to 20%. And I must confess that in my own journey of realizing how important environmental sustainability is, these figures become a false sense of comfort. Hey, we didn't create this problem, so we probably don't need to move with the same sense of urgency. But the truth of the matter is that Pakistan is in the top 10 most vulnerable countries when it comes to climate change. What you mentioned about the Indus River, it's feeding hundreds of millions of people. We're a population of 220 million people. 40% are employed in the agriculture sector. It accounts for 20% of our GDP. We don't have a very sound and a robust healthcare infrastructure. And we have very dense population in urban areas. So, water becomes very important. How we handle epidemics becomes very important. Water diseases. So these are all challenges that we face. And now, most recently, I'll quote a few examples. One of the cities experienced its highest ever temperature in 6 decades. That was the city of Jacobabad, 49 degrees centigrade. 40% of the entire mango production this year is likely to get impacted, and 20% of wheat. Now, we've been talking about the global crisis of wheat with respect to the Russian-Ukrainian war. You can imagine that for a developing country like Pakistan, how big of an impact that will have. So, bottom line being that we can't, companies like us or people like us as Pakistanis, we can't be in that zone that, hey, we didn't create this problem, so we're not going to do anything about it. We absolutely cannot do it. What role are we playing as Engro, and why? Starts off with a very basic moral argument that, you know, we're the citizens of this world, and it is a global issue, and hence we have to raise our hands and play our part. We've been blessed with success in our country, and as a result of that, there are lots of companies which look up to us. So how we act, how we react will have a chain reaction, and you know, like I said, God has been very kind to us. We're a company of 20,000 people, and as they say that with great power comes great responsibility, so that's important. But thirdly, a point that you mentioned, that it is a business imperative as well. We want to grow as a company which increases its share of products and services in the global marketplace. We want to go invest in other marketplaces apart from Pakistan. And it's clear that we cannot be globally competitive unless and until we have ESG at the heart of our strategy. So, in this, with that in mind, there are lots of initiatives that we have undertaken, particularly on the environment side. We planted about 1 million odd trees. We've gotten into an arrangement with the WWF and the government itself to cover 50,000 acres of land with the trees and do the forestation over the next 10 odd years. On the social side, we've trained approximately 4,500 farmers. We have treated about 400,000 patients, and all these in areas where our businesses and plants operate. On the governance side, we've signed up with WEF, and we will adhere to the highest levels of transparency when it comes to our own sort of controlling our own emissions. And so these are the things that we've done, but looking forward, the biggest change that we've brought about in our philosophy is that ESG now sits at the heart of our capital allocation decisions, which wasn't the case before. We would look at business opportunities, we would look at returns, we would look at the impact of that over the economy, over the country, but not really have a consideration for ESG. That has changed. So fundamentally, how we will allocate and reallocate capital is going to be driven by ESG. We've also committed that 30% of our leadership team by the year 2026 will comprise of females. Just to put things into perspective, 2 years ago this was 0. Now it's standing close to 10%, and we want to take it to 30%. At the boards, it is a much better story. The board of Engro Corporation out of 10 has 3 females, 3 women on it. So there's a lot that we need to do as a company, as a country, and I think it's events like these which provide us the opportunity to learn, because I think we're all learning, and it's great to have people around us over here who we can all pick up from. Karoma, being a large company, there's a lot that we can learn. I'm sure we can, being a plastic producer, and with our ambitions of contributing to the waste, plastic is not the issue, it doesn't have an alternative, it's a wonderful product. It's how we manage the waste, which is the great issue. And would love to engage with people like yourselves and at this great event which has given us the opportunity. Thank you so much for inviting me here today.